What is a myth about your country that is 100% false but many people believe is true? Canada is not a frozen wasteland all the time. We have summer here. It's my favorite day of the year. Romania, that we have vampires. Please, my friend Vlad has not seen a single vampire in the past 300 years. Also, our national anthem literally begins with, "Wake up from your slumber of death." But this is exactly what a country full of vampires would say. That New Zealand is clean and green. Around 60% of the rivers are unswimmable due to pollution. And the farmers act like they are being persecuted when the government tells them they're not allowed to make their cows shit in the river, or fill the aquifers up with nitrate runoff. Yes, unfortunately though, once you remove dairy products from the NZ economy, there's not much left except for selling coffee and houses to each other. There's also, Lord of the Rings tourism. Wales, most of us have purely platonic feelings towards sheep. In 1872, the Welsh invented the condom using the lining of a sheep's intestine. In 1873, the English refined the idea by first taking it out of the sheep. That all of Germany is like Bavaria. All of the German stereotypes only depict Bavarian traditions. Although the country is a pretty small one, people will have different traditions, customs, and very different dialects if you drive for only 2 or 3 hours. To give context, Bavaria is to Germany like Texas is to the USA. That and the stereotype that Germans have no humor. We do, it's just usually not the in-your-face type of humor. Well, I'd say that we don't eat pasta on a daily basis, but we Italians absolutely fucking do. Well, to quote the original Italian Job, "Well, I hope he likes spaghetti. They serve it 4 times a day in the Italian prisons." Ireland. We're not all alcoholics who eat nothing but potatoes. Speak for yourself, pal. I did say not all. Of course not. Some of you are alcoholics who eat a turnip every so often too. That the country is called Holland. Holland is just 2 of the 12 provinces, the only 2 most people visit. Oh yeah, I was literally taught in school that Holland and the Netherlands were interchangeable names. Many Americans use England when they mean the UK. I assume others do this too. Mexico. We eat tacos every 2 seconds. We all look like, have a mustache, sombrero, named Juan. Listen, I'm married into a Mexican family and have been all over Mexico, and we absolutely ate tacos every 2 seconds. No sombreros though. I don't know if it's a myth, but I'm tired of people associating berets with France. And no one wears that. No one. Tourists in France wear them, haha. But you do another great stereotype, and that is walk around with baguettes, which I think is just wonderful. If the baguettes we got here in the US were as good as the baguettes you get in every corner shop French boulangerie, we'd all be walking around with baguettes too. Iceland has an app everybody uses to see if they are related before having sex. While it is true that it was an app, the app was made as a joke. Iceland has birth records so extensive and complete. I can trace my family back 33 generations to Ulfar Orgi, who was born in 740. So a group of students made a joke app called Incest Spoiler, which used this data to give you how closely related any 2 people were, but nobody has seriously used it. The Netherlands. A majority of people do not in fact smoke pot on the regular, nor is it technically legal. We also don't wear wooden shoes. The country does not exist mostly out of farmers that are stuck in the 19th century. Thank you for that one marvel. And we do not have no-go zones in big cities. Many people think that wild haggis are a myth created to wind up tourists, but they're actually very much real animals, although their numbers have declined quite significantly, so I can see why they think it's a myth. Luckily, you can see one on display in the Kelvingrove Art Gallery and Museum, so hopefully that helps dispel the myth of their existence. My grandfather used to tell me that the haggis had one leg longer than the other so that it could run fast around hills. He said the best way to catch one was to turn it around on its hill. It would roll down, and you could grab it at the bottom. Is that true too? Yeah, that's part of why they'd become near extinct. Like the dodo, they lacked any ambition to follow evolution, and so it made it almost too easy to gather the local youth and have them stand at the bottom of the hill with big nets to catch them as they rolled down. A few years ago, the Scottish government tried to expand their breeding program and sent each household a haggis to raise. Unfortunately, they sent them out in January, and due to the cost of living crisis, many families saw this as a chance to save a bit of cash on their Burns night supper. The breeding program was officially scrapped in 2022. We don't ride kangaroos to school in Australia, mate. Correct, you can't get your kangaroo license until you're 18. You can get your learners at 17, but then you have to have a licensed rider in the pouch, and schools generally don't permit kangaroo parking. That we all love the royal family and are offended when other people insult them. A large chunk of the population is in favor of having no royal family anymore, certainly compared to previous generations. I went to Istanbul about 6 weeks after the Queen died and was really surprised, taken aback by how pretty much everyone, both people I met in passing and also those who already knew me and that I was fairly friendly with, paid me heartfelt and sincere condolences on my loss. Like in a very meaningful way, as you would to someone who had recently lost a parent, or someone that they were very close to and that you expected to be deeply and personally affected by it. I genuinely didn't know how to react each time, even though it kept happening. Fortunately, I managed to rein in my instinctive British urge to immediately take the piss, make a sarky comment when they were all clearly completely sincere about it. That we in the USA think we're better than everyone. Some do, but many have a deep respect for other cultures and a fascination to learn more. Our recent election may not support this, but it's 100% true. Japan is not like what you see on the internet. Japanese are not the nicest, most polite people. Japanese smile a lot due to social pressure, but they are really thinking, I hate you. The working culture here is really bad with very little work-life balance. The government is just as corrupt as America's. It's very crowded and fairly expensive to the point that people are no longer having babies. It's a great country to visit for like 2 weeks. But living here, it's very difficult to survive, especially if you don't speak any Japanese. That Brits don't go to the dentist. There are people in literally every country with bad teeth, but us Brits get labeled the worst. Yes, it's because in British culture dental care is about health, rather than looks. We have good provision of dental health. Looks don't really come into it as much. That British food is shit. It was probably true 20 years ago, but British cuisine has gone through a bit of a renaissance over the last decade and a half. We actually season stuff now. As evidenced by the fact that outside of Paris, the city with the most Michelin-starred restaurants in the world is London. One thing that is a bone of contention for me is that when I see memes about British food, it's almost always potshots at our poverty meals. Beans on toast and stuff like that. We've never eaten beans on toast because we like it. We eat it because it's literally cheaper than instant noodles. It just feels very cheap to mock poverty food when 60 million Americans rely on food banks. Sweden. That we've got no-go zones all over the place. We don't. The only time I've felt threatened walking around in my city have been on Friday, Saturday nights when some random drunks are trying to pick a fight. A fist fight. That all most Icelanders believe in elves. We don't say, OPA, every chance we get, and plate smashing is kinda a thing of the past. I can imagine plate smashing would have fallen out of favor due to recent economic crises, both local and international. But in big fat Greek wedding. A big Greek wedding sacred. That Serbia is dangerous. In fact, it's very friendly and safe. To be fair, there has been quite a few conflicts in the countries that once made up Yugoslavia in the past 30 years. So it's easy to see how many Westerners can be nervous to visit. You also have to deal with the general stereotype of Eastern Europe being economically depressed, and as such, more prone to criminality. Not saying any of that is true, just saying that's the general thought process of folks when deciding on visiting or not. I'll admit that I hear or read the word Serbia and think dangerous. Basically, all the information in my head of Serbia, and that region in general, is outdated and 30 years old. I am trying to be better about that kind of stuff though. It's more a joke than a myth, but I swear to God if I hear Finland isn't real one more time. Norway. Polar bears isn't an everyday lurking threat. I told a guy in my guild back when playing WoW that I was heading out, going for a jog in the nearby woods close to my home, and he asked seriously if I had to be armed in case polar bears attacked. I've worked on and off in Norway for 25 years and I've never once met anyone who's been killed by a polar bear. Apparently quite a few Brits think that electric kettles don't work in the US because the voltage isn't strong enough or something. Plenty of us have electric kettles and they work just fine. The rest of us use stovetop ones to preserve counter space. The belief probably comes from the fact that kettles running on 120V boil water slower than the 230V the Brits use. Also from the fact many Americans I've worked with heat water for tea in the damn microwave. Brazil here. That we all play football in the Amazon and we are all black. I think many people would be surprised how culturally diverse Brazil is. People assume Greeks are lazy, but we are some of the hardest working people. It's always funny when the German tourists come and are surprised that we aren't running around naked stuffing our faces with food or napping. So sorry to disappoint you. What is a myth about your country many people believe is true? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.